John, why don't you tell us first what you at Premera and MultiCare are launching in the Pierce County and South Sound market?
Yeah, well, first we're really just strengthening our relationship as a foundation for being able to do creative things in healthcare together. And one of the byproducts of that is a product that we'll be jointly launching that'll be effective January 1st called Peak Care, that'll be offered for the small group market and large group employers in the Pierce County area. And it'll really be a product of our collaboration that's really aligned around making healthcare work better when people show up and actually get care. Not just a contractual relationship between the two of us that's invisible to the consumer and the purchaser. It'll be something that's tangibly different and better.
So this alliance, Bill, is the term that you all at Premera and MultiCare are using. Often there are euphemisms in healthcare where affiliation really means purchase or acquisition. How do you characterize this alliance compared to some of the other relationships in the marketplace?
I like to characterize this as a trusting partnership. And I do think that trusting is something you have to build, and we spent, what is it, 2 years, SB? 2 years. Working on how to create that level of trust that allows us to build a product together and take risks together in that product and approach employers together in that product. And the work's not done, but it is it's something that we're going to learn together in. It's a learning space. So a trusting or a partnership where trust has developed over time.
Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know that either of you quite see the world this way. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I see the world as organizations as led from the top, and that the leaders and the culture and the qualities they bring to their organization are really vitally important. And I'm wondering, SB, if you think that Bill's experience back east in Maryland, in a place that has a much more different hospital plan universe, there's an all-payer model, there's a capitation style model, if that has sort of been a benefit to Washington State from your perspective?
Yes, unqualified yes. I will say that you talk about culture and trust, sort of implicit in that is leadership and the role of leadership. This would not be happening without Bill's leadership. That experience he has back east allows him to have some courage and perspective that some of these things are feasible, even if the road ahead is bumpy and full of potholes, because in this marketplace we don't have a lot of experience with these sorts of collaborations. Bill's leadership has been an absolute requirement for this to be successful. And it started actually on the heels of Premera and MultiCare having a pretty adversarial relationship that was working its way through the court system. And then several years ago, Bill shows up, he talks a certain perspective about the role he wants to play in the community, and then starts putting his money where his words are. He says, this is how we're going to approach our relationship with Premera, recognizing we need healthcare to be affordable, and really making some hard decisions and sort of sending very different signals persistently.
Bill, let me ask the same kind of question about SB. It's not every plan, it's certainly not every PPO, and it's certainly not every blue PPO plan that elevates a physician to such a prominent role in an executive leadership team. It's not just a chief medical officer style position that SB holds as EVP. Do you think that the elevation of a physician of his type of leadership is really kind of necessary to have a partnership like this? Does it make Premera unique, or do you see it differently?
Well, I'm not sure whether SB's role as a physician makes the Blues unique, because I know of other physician executives, but I will say that SB's brought a unique perspective. We could not create a partnership by ourselves, and neither could Blue Cross Premera make a partnership by themselves, but SB has been intent and focused for unrelenting in his pursuit of a relationship that worked productively for both parties. And I think that's a really important way that we have talked about doing this. It needs to win for our shared customer, our patient. It's a 3 wins. It needs to win for them, it needs to win for the Premera organization, and it needs to win for MultiCare Health System. We all need to be here to take care of our communities going forward, but if all 3 do not win out of this, then we've failed in some way as partners and as organizations that are focused on the best interests of our communities.
Give me an example of what this kind of contract looks like. Is it a capitated contract, shared risk, PPO, MCO style, narrow network? How do you characterize this relationship and contract?
I think, first of all, we characterize it as we're on the same side of the table relative to working with the customer that we're seeking to sell the product to. And when we're on the same side of the table, that means we recognize that the total revenue coming into this product is whatever comes out of that premium, and we share the bottom line together. So it's not like we have all the risk or Premera has all the risk. We're in this together. And so we set out to solve this by saying if we know what the premium is going to be and we know what the bottom line needs to be, what we have to solve for is the middle, which is, so that was the forcing function, is we know we have to have a viable product and we know what premium is going to look like. And the middle is now how together we deliver services, how they deliver the services that Premera delivers, and how we deliver the care that we deliver. That all has to happen in the middle.
And DJ, I would just add on to it, I think over the past 6 to 8 months that we've really been getting down to brass tacks and trying to figure this out, there have been, I can't really recall any conversations where we use those terms. Because we've been talking about how we work together to make healthcare work better, which is very different. We're not talking about a contract that sits behind the scenes. We're talking about an experience that our customers will have.
It sounds like both entities will be increasing their care coordination activities. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we'll be investing in that together. Right now we both invest, and if you look at that together, we could probably be more efficient with less resource by combining and bringing synergies in how we share information, how we align around understanding who the customer is, all the data and analytics around that, sharing clinical resources. Our two clinical teams are deeply integrated now in how they've been approaching this to understand where the opportunities are.
Instead of having kind of equal and opposite forces working, the teams are already working together to have one team that's looking at how do we solve the challenges that in the past we kind of just bucketed in silos. How do we solve those challenges for our patients and our organizations together?
John Espinola, Executive Vice President for Healthcare Services at Premera Blue Cross, and Bill Robertson, President and CEO of MultiCare. Appreciate both of you sitting down with us. Thank you.